Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Sports for Supper at Sammy's. I'm Jared Lucky, along here with Maury Stein and Jeff Stivers, and we will be talking to Coach Sanchez tonight with football, and then we're going to have the golf team on a little later. We've got their coach and four of their players who came tonight, talk about their program, and we're going to start with football. We'll jump right into it. Coach, thanks for joining us tonight, and want to congratulate you. Got the first win on Friday night down in Laredo, and team looked really good. So tell us what you took from that game, and tell us a little bit about what's coming up this week.
Well, one of the things that we took down there, first of all, I think going on the road was good for us. We needed to get together and just have it be us, and it provided us a lot of focus. We executed very well. The kids have a lot of confidence in what they're doing, and like I said, it's kind of weird how some play here or there turn the ball game around, and we got some momentum. We kept it, and we just kept on. We were very consistent. Our playbook was kind of small this week, and we wanted to do the things that we did good. We wanted to do them often. So defensively, we kept the game plan very simple for the boys so they can play fast. So as far as what's coming up this week, I mean, we've got another tough opponent. Southside is one of those teams that they say they're rebuilding, but they're not rebuilding.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
They've got some weapons, and they're a dangerous team. So we've been preparing very carefully for them.
And go ahead, Maury.
What time do you usually have to leave on a game like in Laredo? How different is it preparing for an away game when you got to leave that early compared to playing in your own home stadium? What is the difference, and does it take more to motivate the young man after they get off the bus, or is it pretty much the same?
We keep it the same. We planned the travel time, and we took that part out of it. But from a certain time throughout the day, or at a certain time in the afternoon, the kids know exactly what we're doing at 4:30. They know it's time to tape. 5:15, we're having meetings, so on and so forth. That stays consistent, home or away. It's just the travel that we have to accommodate the time for.
Coach, you had a freshman quarterback step in on Friday night, and y'all simplified the game for him, because that's a huge jump coming from freshman to varsity. The game speed's a lot different, and y'all gave him some easy plays early on to complete some passes and got him some confidence. Tell us about how you thought he performed in that game.
We told Javier all week that Xavier. We told him all week that all he had to do was manage well. He wasn't trying to win the game. He was trying to go out there and manage the ball, manage the plays. We asked him not to lose the game. Just go out there and do what he was told. And Coach Medley and the offensive staff kept it simple for him, and he executed it. He's been doing that all year. At the freshman level, he's been executed. He's got an offensive line in front of him that really protected him. And they opened up some holes for our running backs. Anthony was a beneficiary of that, and so it was easy for him. I wouldn't say it was easy for him. It was just one of those things that was simple for him. Simple, right, but not easy.
Yeah, and we talked after the game. We kind of gave our player of the game to the offensive and defensive lines because of what they were able to do against Laredo Martin, control the game. And, I think Xavier was only under pressure maybe once or twice, and he had the calmness to actually throw the ball away, which sometimes you don't see in a young quarterback like that. So I was pretty impressed with him staying calm when he did get under. The few times he was under pressure.
I met with his parents and him early before the season started, and the young man is he's driven. He's got goals. He's been training. This is what he does. He's a true quarterback. So he knows what to do. Again, like you mentioned, the varsity level Friday night, it's a little bit faster, and that's one of the things that he had to get acclimated to. I think he did a good job. I do feel like Southside's going to bring heat on him. I think they're going to pressure him a lot more. Again, our offensive line knows that as well.
And you mentioned that they have some weapons, Southside. you care to expand on that a little bit? Like, is it running back, wide receiver, quarterback? What are they?
All three.
All three. With some speed.
and their overall team speed's good too. I mean, just because they got big boys up front, they're quick. They're really quick to their block. They're very disciplined, and it's good. It's going to be Juan in the trenches this week.
And probably the reason that nobody really has heard about Xavier before is he comes from the Loma Alta middle school, where he played 7th and 8th grade, and most people didn't go over there and watch them play. They stayed pretty much and watched the people that were around here. So that's why some people haven't even heard of the young man before he stepped up as a freshman, and it was like, wow, this guy's he's good. He's the
really
real
good.
deal.
I don't know, Maria. This is my first year here, and it's kind of like opening a really cool gift.
Oh, absolutely. How important was it for y'all when he made that great run and they tackled him
Right at the goal
6
line.
inches? What was going through y'all's mind? You say, you know what, we got to reward him. We got to let him try. Was that even going through y'all's mind, saying, hey, he deserves another chance to get this touchdown?
We're just trying to make sure it's a simple game plan for him. It was the next play up, and go for there.
And he found another weapon in the backfield.
Yes.
Also with Mr. Pierce.
Yeah.
That is a great change of pace between him and Guerrero, and then you have Reza coming out of the backfield. You have your receivers out there. How important is that to have have that other weapon available for you?
Getting to full strength is very important for us, and those are some of the things that we didn't have early on. And when this team is rolling at full strength, I mean, they can be dangerous. So it's very important to have a change of pace. Anthony's got a lot of mileage on him already, and we're gonna continue to ride Anthony, but at the same time, we got to give him a break.
Right.
So he's a good change of pace. Antoine runs the ball really well. He's fast, and he's really strong for him.
Yeah, and I think, with the way that Guerrero runs, the toughness, I'm not going to fall with the first man that hits me, we saw him run that way when he came into the game also. I think that's good for them to see that, because it's, hey, I got to do that if I want to play, and it keeps them motivated and keeps them going.
Yeah, absolutely, and it helps out with our offensive coaches being able to call a play. If Anthony's gassed, we can still call a play.
Go ahead, Maury.
What is there anything different you're going to do on defense? You're going to have the 3-4? You're going to have a 4-3? Or I shouldn't ask that question, but is it going to be pretty much back to the basics of what we've seen probably last week, or do they pose different thing that you're going to have to prepare for?
They're a different ball club. We have different checks that we need to make. There's certain things that tendencies that we see that we want to make sure that we address without going too far into it. People ask me all the time, are you a 3-4 guy, you're a 4-3 guy, 3-3 stat guy, and my answer is always, well, what's going to stop the run? That's what we're trying to do.
And the defense you had set up last week, the linebackers were roaming free. The defensive line was doing their job and keeping them linebackers clean, and they were all over the place.
If we can keep the linebackers clean, we should be all right on the defensive side. That goes for any team. Defensive linemen, they don't get any glory. But all those tackles that those linebackers make, it's because of them.
Yep.
That's the truth. And I tell them that all the time. Defensive line, and offensive linemen are my favorite positions on the field.
They don't get the credit, but they make things happen.
Yeah.
And those guys, they love it. They absolutely love it. I love the trench.
Tell us about who you brought with us tonight.
Well, I brought two of our more explosive players, Carter Hewitt and Landon Burns. Carter plays on both sides of the ball. Landon is our cornerback, but Landon also returns and things like that. And they're really great kids. Future.
Right. Well, Coach, thanks for joining us. Good luck on Friday night.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll talk to you again next week after another big win.
let's see what happens.
Get her done.
We're going to take a break and come back with the two players that he brought with him. You're listening to Sports for Supper, and we'll continue here in just a moment.
Thank you.
Sammy's Restaurant and Hades Alsatian Bakery, two legendary landmarks in Castroville. From breakfast to delicious hometown lunch specials and more, Sammy's satisfies your taste buds with the unique flavor of Castroville. And from fresh baked breads to pies and pastries, South Texans have made Hades Alsatian Bakery a must-visit since 1940. Sammy's Restaurant, online at sammysrestaurant.com. Hades Alsatian Bakery, online at hadesbakery.com.
Texas, 268,000 square miles and then some. Twice as much elbow room as California. There's just no place like Texas. You can take that to the bank. Texan Bank, poised and ready for a future that's wide open. Member FDIC.
Peerless Equipment, your South Texas irrigation experts. Peerless Equipment specializes in sales and service of irrigation equipment to the agricultural and wildlife industries. This includes hose reels, big guns, pivot systems, underground pipelines, turbine well pumps, booster pumps, motors, valves, and an inventory of much more. Stop by one of their locations in Hondo and Pearsall, or give them a call at 210-434-7867. Peerless Equipment, bringing water to you.
Are you ready for a vacation? Tanya with Travel by Design can help you with all your vacation destination needs. At no cost to you, she can plan all of the details tailored to your unique wants and needs. So all you have to do is enjoy your vacation. Tanya is a certified expert with Disney, Universal Orlando, and California, Sandals, and all cruise lines. Give Tanya a call at 830-931-4834 or visit her Facebook page, Tanya with Travel by Design, for all the latest specials and must-do vacations.
Tom Ray Gwynn Funeral Home in Castroville, Texas, has been providing funeral services to families in the Medina Valley and surrounding areas for many generations. Tom Ray Gwynn Funeral Home is proud to support the broadcast by the Medina Valley Broadcast Network for the athletes and students participating in this event. Go Panthers! Tom Ray Gwynn Funeral Home, Castroville, Texas. You may view obituaries at Tondre, Tondre-Gwynn, Guinn.com, or visit the Facebook page of Tondre Gwynn Funeral Home to view funeral notices.
Welcome back here to Sports for Supper. We just had Coach Sanchez on talking about last week's game against Laredo Martin and coming up this week against Southside. And now we're going to transition. We got a couple of the players on here. We have Landon Burns and Carter Hewitt on here. Thanks, guys, for joining us tonight.
Yes, sir.
And if you'll tell us your name, number, position, your year in school.
My name is Carter Hewitt. I am number 1. I'm a DB and receiver in my junior year. And, yeah.
And so, being a defensive back, you play mostly cornerback, correct?
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about that. Like, we've seen you matched up against some of the better receivers on the other teams. Tell us about having to stay with them and, like, what you're looking for defensively to stay with those guys.
Off the bat, I look at the hips off the release. If I see them go inside release, I flip my hips inside. If I see them go outside release, I release outside. And it's really a mind game, really, how you think about it. You don't want to think you're outmatched by a receiver just by their size or any of that. You stay with them, stay close to them, and ball on the ground.
And tell us a little bit about on running plays and things that are like stretched out to your side, because you're having to kind of stay out there and help make tackles when they stretch out plays. So tell us a little bit about that. How do you read if it's pass, run? What are you looking for there?
Usually you can tell by a receiver's, when he comes off the ball. Receivers are lazy, They're usually lazy. If they're running off the ball hard, they're going to run a route. If they're, coming at you a little slow, you can expect the route, but it's usually they're going to block. And as a corner myself, I'm reading the block to see if I need to go inside, go outside. Usually go outside of the receiver to make the tackle, leave the inside open for the safety. But if the running back comes inside, then I just got to make the play.
You're usually on the weak side where you don't have help from the safety most of the time, so you're out there on an island most of the time. Does that build confidence in you knowing that, hey, I'm by myself out here. I got to take care of their number one receiver and shut them down?
Yes, sir. I always love to take on a challenge, and when I know I'm on an island by myself, I'm more confident than anybody on the field. Just
And one of the things that we've seen from mainly the corners this year, which I like to see, is that you guys look for the football when it's in the air. You turn around to see it instead of just face guarding people. How important is that to y'all, and is that something the coaches are instilling in y'all?
Yes, sir. I think it's all about staying in phase and out of phase. If you're in phase, I'm always turning my head. If I'm out of phase, I'm looking for the receiver's eyes. If they're getting big, I'm swatting their arms down. But I try to stay in phase as much as possible so I can make a play on the ball.
Now, one of y'all came up with an interception last week. Yeah, I couldn't remember which one of y'all it was because sometimes it gets turned around, and I think I gave one of y'all credit for a touchdown that was not y'all. At some point, it was Martinez that caught it, but I couldn't see the number good.
Well, 6 and 8
were
hard.
Well, and
yeah.
3.
And 3, yeah.
Yeah, 3, yeah. That's who I gave credit to, yeah. But it was not you that made it, but still. And you return also?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about returning, because we've seen you do that before. Fair catch, not fair catch. What are you looking for? How close they are to you? What?
With the punt returns, I'm always trying to catch the ball because if I'm not catching the ball and I got to go for a repeater, we're usually going to be in bad field position. So even if I got to absorb a hit and catch it on punt, I'm going to have to take the hit so we can get the best field position as possible. Kickoff return, I'm looking for an open hole, or if I need to bounce it to the outside, just to make a play for the team.
And so being that you're a defensive player and a return man, what would you rather do in the game? Would you rather come up with a big interception? Would you rather return a kick for a touchdown?
Oh, big interception. Big interception.
He was a young man that laid the lumber to the receiver across the middle the other night, weren't you?
That was James. James
That was
Martinez.
James,
Martinez.
yeah.
Oh, but that was one of the best sticks I've seen. And what goes through your mind when you're making a tackle and the receiver or even the running back lowers his head? What is going through your mind to not get that targeting? Because that's an emphasis they put on there. How have you changed your game to not use your headgear? Because when we were that age, that's what they taught. That's how they taught us to tackle, and it's totally different.
Yeah.
I just try to make a play on the ball, make a fundamental tackle because those targeting penalties can cost a lot of yards. So instead of trying to make the biggest hit, just make the tackle, in my opinion.
Do you play any other sports?
I run track.
What do you do in track?
I do the 100, the 200, and the 4x1.
Nice. That's cool.
Anchor leg.
Yes, sir.
And so thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. And we might have like a question for both of y'all later on, but we'll move on to the next young man here. If you'll tell us your name, number, and all that.
My name is Landon Burns, number 3. I play DB. I go to Medina Valley High School. I'm a junior. And, yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about being, you're a junior. I don't think there's any seniors in the defensive backfield, right? I think there's a sophomore and 3 juniors, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about that, having to be, like, you're one of the older players on there. You have to take more of a leadership role, even though you're an underclassman. Tell us a little bit about that.
It feels nice that the younger class look up to us. I get to teach them new things. I get to learn from them. They get to learn from me. It's pretty nice. Like, they mess up, I can correct their mistakes. They can correct my mistakes. It's pretty nice.
And you guys also knowing that, hey, we're going to be together for another year after this, some of them more, but you guys have a year together still. How valuable is it to be getting experience now and being able to take that into next year?
It's a big deal because the way I see it is we brothers at the end of the day. No matter how many plays, how many drives we have left, we brothers. It's gonna go on for life in general. So it's teaching us a valuable lesson of how to treat each other, just not on the field, but as classmates or teammates.
And so you got Southside coming up this week. Your coach said they've got some explosive players, some weapons. How does that figure into you playing defensive back against them? What do they have wide receiver-wise that's going to cause a problem for you?
Really, I'm here to play the game. I'm here to lock stuff up. I'm coming in with confidence. My confidence ain't gonna drop down. I'm ready to play.
Well, and that's the thing too. So you guys it was a rough start to the season, but gradually over the course of those games, the team got better every game, and it finally all came together last week. How much confidence do y'all have now riding into this next game? Like in the locker room in general.
We have a lot of confidence, but we're gonna stay humble, because if you don't stay humble, then you will be humbled. So we want to stay humble and play our game.
What are the keys that you're looking at as far as if it's going to be a run play or a pass play? And you're a receiver yourself, correct?
Oh, no, I just play DB.
Oh, you're a receiver. Yeah. And he talked about being
wide
lazy.
Receivers being lazy.
If they're not going out for a pass. Is that something that you key on from the start?
I key if they coming out the ball hard or soft. I key the quarterback. He'll read. I got to read our reads, and that's really what we have to look for.
I want to ask you another question real quick on the wide receiver thing. So you talked about wide receivers being lazy blocking. Does that resonate in you? Like, hey, I can't be like that on the offensive side of the ball?
Yes, sir. Any chance I get, any run play, I try to be the key block, and any way I can.
And do you do other sports other than football?
Yes, sir. I play basketball and I jump in track.
What position do you play in basketball?
Point guard.
Point guard. And
yes, sir.
In track, what do you do there?
I do long jump, triple jump, and high jump.
Awesome. All field events, huh?
Yes, sir.
So we always ask the young men to kind of make a prediction. Can we predict a pick six or an interception or a couple of tackles for a loss,
run
or
one back for a touchdown,
run a punt or a kickoff back, or because believe it or not, 8 times out of 10, it usually happens.
Yeah.
If you don't believe me, ask Mikey Tomaselli from last year. The couple of things that he said over the years, they came true. So let's hear it.
Well, first off, I'm predicting a win.
There you go.
I'm predicting both of us getting a pick six and a win. Yeah.
So last week they said we want to win, and they got that. So there you go.
A punt or a kickoff return, maybe.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely.
I love it.
They come my way, I will return it to the house.
There you go. I love it.
Guys, thanks for joining us. We appreciate having y'all on here. Good luck in the game Friday night, and good luck on the rest of the season, and maybe we'll see you back here later on in the year.
Yes, sir.
Thanks,
Playoff
guys.
time.
Yep.
Thank you.
We are going to take a break, and then we're going to come back with the golf team. You're listening to Sports for Supper, and we'll continue here in just a moment.
Bush's Chicken, one of the oldest locations in Castroville, is proud to serve the Medina Valley area. Bush's Chicken has one goal: be the best. Bush's Chicken knows its success comes from loyal customers in the communities they serve. Stop by Bush's Chicken on Tuesday and get the Tender Tuesday deal, or try their buffalo fries and ask about their Panther special. It's always a hit. Bush's Chicken, 935 Highway 90 East in Castroville. Call them at 830-538-2800.
Double T Outfitters offers deer, dove, turkey, quail, and exotic hunts in Southwest Texas on over 20,000 low-fenced acres. They facilitate professional guide services, lodging, and fantastic meals while providing the best in Southwest hunting. Contact Double T Outfitters to find out details about their current package hunts. Contact owner Brett Ferguson at 210-413-1597 or online at DoubleTHunting.com. Sammy's Restaurant and Hades Alsatian Bakery, 2 legendary landmarks in Castroville. From breakfast to delicious hometown lunch specials and more, Sammy's satisfies your taste buds with the unique flavor of Castroville. And from fresh baked breads to pies and pastries, South Texans have made Hades Alsatian Bakery a must-visit since 1940. Sammy's Restaurant, online at Sammy'sRestaurant.com. Hades Alsatian Bakery, online at HadesBakery.com.
Texas, 268,000 square miles and then some. Twice as much elbow room as California. There's just no place like Texas. You can take that to the bank. Texan Bank, poised and ready for a future that's wide open. Member FDIC.
Here Peerless Equipment, your South Texas irrigation experts. Peerless Equipment specializes in sales and service of irrigation equipment to the agricultural and wildlife industries. This includes hose reels, big guns, pivot systems, underground pipelines, turbine well pumps, booster pumps, motors, valves, and an inventory of much more. Stop by one of their locations in Hondo and Pearsall, or give them a call at 210-434-7867. Peerless Equipment, bringing water to you.
Are you ready for a vacation? Tanya with Travel by Design can help you with all your vacation destination needs. At no cost to you, she can plan all of the details tailored to your unique wants and needs. So all you have to do is enjoy your vacation. Tanya is a certified expert with Disney, Universal Orlando, and California, Sandals, and all cruise lines. Give Tanya a call at 830-931-4834 or visit her Facebook page, Tanya with Travel by Design, for all the latest specials and must-do vacations.
Todd Gwynn Funeral Home in Castroville, Texas has been providing funeral services to families in the Medina Valley and surrounding areas for many generations. Todd Gwynn Funeral Home is proud to support the broadcast by the Medina Valley Broadcast Network for the athletes and students participating in this event. Go Panthers! Todd Gwynn Funeral Home, Castroville, Texas. You may view obituaries at Tondre, Tondre-Gwynn, Guinn.com, or visit the Facebook page of Todd Gwynn Funeral Home.
All right, welcome back here to Sports for Supper. We had football on here, and now we're going to transition into the golf program, and we're joined by the head coach, and he's going to have a couple of the players on here in a little while. But, Coach, thanks for joining us. We appreciate having you on.
Thank you for letting me on.
And if you want, you can introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your background in coaching. This is your first year back at Medina Valley. You've been here before.
That's correct.
But if you'll introduce yourself, and then you can tell us a little bit about your program and what you got going on this year.
Sure. Well, thank y'all for having me on. My name is Mike Bombeck. This is my 15th year in coaching. I was the head golf coach here in 2011 through 2014 and was assistant under Coach Randy Mann for 1 year in 2010, and he retired, and I took over. And then I left, went to Northside for 8 years, and back for the first time in 8 years. So, yes.
And so tell us a little bit about you. Got a boys and girls team.
Yes, sir.
And you guys are still, is it still 8 tournaments before district throughout the season?
That's
right?
correct, yes. So, yeah.
Yeah, and do y'all play 4 and 4, or how do y'all do that?
Typically, I've done it years past. We've done 4 and 4, and then sometimes like this year, we're doing 3 and 5 in the springtime. So
okay.
we'll split it up that way. Yes.
And tell how many kids have come out for golf this year?
So this year we have 11 boys. So we have 2 boys teams, and then right now currently we have 4 girls currently, and then we'll have a couple more that'll come out in the springtime as well too. So.
Okay. And they still do it, five-person team. They throw the worst score out.
Right.
How it still works.
Yes, sir. It's a 5-person team, best 4 scores, and you take those scores there.
And when was your last tournament that y'all have had?
Well, we actually, our first tournament is coming up in mid-October. We have not played yet. No. And so we have. We'll start in mid-October, October 17th. We'll have our boys orange team. We'll play at in Fredericksburg.
Okay.
At their Lady Bird Johnson, and then our boys black team will play in at Falcon Head Golf Course in Austin. So we'll travel and play at that golf course. And
speaking of traveling for golf, how far do y'all go this year? Where's some of the farthest tournaments y'all are going?
So like I said, our first one for boys black will be in Austin, and then we'll go to the state preview tournament in Georgetown. This year in the springtime, we got into that tournament, so we'll play there for experience there, and then obviously we'll go qualify. We'll go down to the Valley for region. That's where regionals will be this year for 5As. Down in McAllen, yes, sir.
Okay, and is the state tournament going to be in Georgetown also because the preview's there?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
It used to always be at Roy Kaiser
when
I was there, and we played a state preview there as well.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
But so that's a big golf tournament, the state preview, because there's some good teams.
There's some good teams. The 4-point shootout that we're going to go for boys black October 18th. That's a big tournament. You'll have Vandergrift host it. Vandergrift High School host it. The Westlake teams will be there. Lake Travis teams will be there. So it'll be a good test. It's a 36-hole tournament, 1-day tournament. So it'll be a
Oh, wow.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
I got you.
They've done that a few more times now with course availability and everything
Okay.
like that. So yes.
So I know when I was playing, I mean, they still got to walk and all that kind of stuff. But tell us a little bit about, you walk 36 holes. I mean, not that no one's not in shape walking 36 holes, but mentally, how does that affect some of the players?
Yeah, it's a grind. I mean, it's very much a grind, and obviously you're encouraging them through the way, but also making sure they're having their water, they're getting their snack every 4 holes or so there. But it is a grind. I remember my first tournament here with Coach Manning. Then we took him up to the Bart Granger tournament in Fort Worth.
I played in that in a hurricane. I'm not kidding. It was bad.
Yeah, in Fort Worth, and that one, that's a 54-hole tournament. That's
Yes.
36 holes on Friday, and then you play another 18 on Saturday. And even for, we had kids, freshmen there, it was a grind for him. It was tough, but, he just pushed through it and kept playing. So.
Yep. No, that was we played that in a monsoon, and they would not call the tournament. We were out there. The umbrella was blowing away. It didn't work anymore. That was,
Yes,
that
sir.
was rough.
And see, when we played in '79, they never had a 36-hole day. You just played 18 one day and 18
The next.
the next, and there never was a 36.
Right,
hole
and
in one day.
Right, and typically they're 18 one day, 18 the second day, but like I said, course availability. Like we'll play October 31st. We'll play in the Smithson Valley, the Ranger Stampede. That's a 36-hole tournament.
Yeah.
They usually put a good tournament out there at River Crossing.
Okay.
And so we'll do a 36-hole tournament, but most of them will be 18 one day, 18 the next day there.
And
So
do y'all still practice at the Alsatian?
we still do practice at the Alsatian, yes, sir.
All right. And what else? What else do you want to talk about for your program?
No, I do appreciate y'all, getting us on here, to talk about the golf program. And like I said, we have 11 boys and we have 4 girls currently. They work hard. We practice Monday through Thursday at the Alsatian. Typically, we'll have our play days Monday and Wednesday, and then we'll work on short game, on one day that week. And then we'll, one day we'd like to get out there and do course management with them as well too, just to get them, used to that, and where to hit, where to aim at on the green, etc. But we're typically Monday through Thursday, and this year we've done something different since I've gotten back. Is we've gotten them into the weight room, so we're in the weight room. We're working out on Tuesday and Friday mornings, which it's definitely going to benefit them.
That's something
Oh,
we never
absolutely.
did. So
Yeah,
and that would have been nice to have that for
Yes.
sure.
Well, you see some of the guys that are on tour now, they don't want to heckle some of those guys. Because
No.
they'll turn around and they'll just literally beat your ass.
Yeah, we were just talking about it. They, the type of golfer now is much different, than it was, 20 years ago. When Tiger came on, and you got these guys like Brooks Koepka and Dustin Johnson, these 6'3", 6'4" guys, and they're working out like crazy when they're not on the golf course. So it's definitely changed quite a bit.
So what, the week before the tournaments, do y'all play a practice round or a round to see who's going to be the first 5 or second 5?
Right, so we've been taking scores. We'll have our qualifying rounds, and so we'll keep our scorecard. The kids will, they'll switch scorecards. They'll keep the round for 9 holes, and typically we'll write our dates in for Mondays and Wednesdays. So we'll keep that, and so we'll have an idea once we get closer to it, usually about a week before, and say, okay, this is who made the team there for the boys black will be our first team. The boys varsity will be our second team. So
when you go into a tournament and you see the schools that are competing in it, do you have a mind frame of, hey, it's going to take us to shoot this score to be competitive, to be able to compete? To compete,
yes. We have a general idea of where we need to be at, depending on the tournament. But I mean, to be honest, if you, our goal obviously is like anybody else. We want to get to that state tournament there, and to get to that state tournament, you have 4 guys that can shoot 75, average 75, 300. You'll get to the state tournament, and so.
So I want to ask you a little bit about that. So is the district that like volleyball and baseball and everyone else plays in?
Right.
It's not the football district, correct?
Right. It's the same thing
It's
as
the same thing as all the other
Yes, sir.
spring sports.
Yes, sir.
And then you go top 2, and top 6 medalists, is that still who advances?
For out of district, yeah, the top 2 teams
Yep.
advance, and the top 3 individuals not on the top 2 teams advance to the regional tournament.
They
there.
changed that.
They did change
Yeah.
it, and they changed regionals too. Regionals is now the top 3 teams out of regionals.
Okay.
And the top 3, individuals not on the top 3 teams, they go to the state tournament.
Because it was only 2 from regionals
right.
before.
So it used to be 8 teams in the tournament. Now it's 12 teams in the state tournament.
Okay.
Now. Yes.
Okay. And y'all, is it still considered like 5A Division 1, or is that not a thing when you?
No, not in that golf. It's just one.
It's just 1 5A.
1 5A and 1 6A, etc. Yeah.
When you look at the district, who are some of the top teams in the district? That's your biggest competition.
Of those guys, there, obviously, we have our Southwest, McCullum. I think McCullum had a couple good players that actually qualified for regionals from the boys' side there. It's pretty wide open in the district.
Gotcha.
There, and it's obviously it's the type of players you have and how much they're practicing as well. But I would say our district's pretty wide open when it comes to golf. Anyway,
so tell us a little bit. How did the team finish last year?
Last year, the boys finished. They won the district championship.
Okay.
District championship for the boys, and so they qualified for the regional tournament there. I think they finished in 8th place overall. And then one of my kids that's going to come on in a minute, Levi Keith, he qualified for the state tournament.
Okay.
He was he was the first player, since Gabriella McNeely, who qualified a couple of years back ago. But Levi was the first boy since Curtis Reed in 2010 to qualify for the state tournament there. So it had been a while.
So you got some pretty good players on your team.
We have some players that can play. And then I think the girls, they had one girl that qualified out of district to regionals last year as an individual. Yes.
One of the last questions I want to ask you is because I played from 01 to 04, and video was just kind of coming into the whole teaching method of everything. How big does things like that play in now? Because there's so many ways to teach the game and so many things that analyze spin rate of your ball, how it comes off your club face. There's so many teaching mechanism now. Yeah.
Oh, it is.
How does that affect how you teach?
I mean, it does. I mean, you can be on the, obviously on the range. I mean, even from I just use my simple phone here, and I can do a slow motion capture of their swing and slow it down. We can, show them, here's what you're doing, here's what their swing's going inside. So it definitely helps,
Yeah.
It helps me to see it too,
Right.
There's some people that can just, they see it, like Coach Mann. He's been doing it so long that he could just see it. But the technology, it's definitely a benefit for sure.
How important is it to have a golf course right in your backyard?
Oh, that definitely helps. It to have that someplace to practice every day, and not having to worry about other teams coming on the course to practice. It helps tremendously.
I don't know if it's still there or not. When I was in school there, we built a putting green back behind the school. Is it still there?
I don't believe it is. I don't believe it is.
I laid
anymore.
the sod for that.
It was there for a while. I know it was there for a while.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing it when I got here.
I think it was a problem because I actually got found by the truancy officer skipping school putting on that one day. That was not a good thing.
But yeah, I don't believe it's there anymore. Yeah.
Okay, I was just wondering because I haven't been back there in that part of the school in a long time. But
well, like I said, I wanted to get on and promote this program. We want to get as many kids involved in the game as possible. I know. Right. I see more kids now today, younger, 9, 10, 11, that are playing golf now. So that's definitely going to help in the future.
Well, and one of the cool things about golf is that it's something that you can play long after you're done with high school, where other sports, if you don't go play at the collegiate level, where are you going to play?
Right.
So golf's something you can play for the rest of your life.
Right.
And, no one can ever take that from you.
Right.
Probably the only negative that is it really isn't a poor man's game.
Right.
The equipment nowadays is out of sight just to keep up with technology.
Right.
I can tell you that's a lot of the reason I stopped playing after high school, because when you're in high school, you can play the courses for free. You know, Coach Mann could get us on just about anywhere.
Right.
He'd help you out with clubs, getting you what you needed, and now, nope. when you're a poor college kid, you do not.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. It's definitely there's definitely more opportunities, obviously, when you're in middle school and high school for that type of stuff. And we encourage our kids also, to play in those outside school tournaments as well too. The STBGA tournaments.
They still do that.
They still have that.
Okay.
We encourage them to sign up for. There's a program through the Texas Golf Association, the Youth on Course. They pay a $25 membership fee, and then they can play any city course in San Antonio for $5 a round.
Oh, that's nice.
So we encourage them to do that.
Yeah.
To get on a different course, just to get different view of it anyway.
When you have players that go to other courses, do you make them walk?
Yes, we walk our courses.
Yeah.
We definitely walk, and definitely when we play, at least when I'm there, we're playing. They do walk. Yes.
Yeah, and that was a big thing. Coach Mann was you go, you walk. We got a cart at Alsatian one day because he was trying to play as many holes as we could. I ended up with that cart in the lake on number 2 before they changed the course up, and that was not. Coach Mann got up to the green, he turned around, he's like, "What happened?" I was like, "Oh God, yeah." I was like, "That's why we don't have carts."
Right. We're definitely walking. Every day we can. So
yeah. Well, I mean, and you got to walk in the tournament, so
you do, and it's building in, like you said, building endurance, especially when we're going to play these 36-hole tournaments in a day.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. And I've noticed too when you use a cart, it speeds your game up a little bit because
right.
You're just driving to the ball instead of thinking about your next shot. Because you see where your ball's at and. Takes you some time to get there.
It does take you time, and something you got to get used to because you're going to play those tournaments where you're sitting there at the par 3, sitting there forever. I mean that affects some guys and girls playing. That's part of the mental aspect of the game there. So definitely.
Well, Coach, thanks for coming on, and we're gonna go have your students on here in a minute, your players. But we appreciate you coming
thank you
on
again.
the show, and good luck in the season coming up, and hopefully if you're back on here next year, we can talk a little bit about the success of the
Sure.
this year.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you all very much. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank
and
you.
we're going to take a break and come back. You're listening to Sports for Supper, and we'll continue here in just a moment.
Bush's Chicken, one of the oldest locations in Castroville, is proud to serve the Medina Valley area. Bush's Chicken has one goal: be the best. Bush's Chicken knows its success comes from loyal customers in the communities they serve. Stop by Bush's Chicken on Tuesday and get the Tender Tuesday deal, or try their buffalo fries and ask about their Panther special. It's always a hit. Bush's Chicken, 935 Highway 90 East in Castroville. Call them at 830-538-2800.
Double T Outfitters offers deer, dove, turkey, quail, and exotic hunts in Southwest Texas on over 20,000 low-fenced acres. They facilitate professional guide services, lodging, and fantastic meals while providing the best in Southwest hunting. Contact Double T Outfitters to find out details about their current package hunts. Contact owner Brett Ferguson at 210-413-1597 or online at DoubleTHunting.com. Sammy's Restaurant and Hades Alsatian Bakery, 2 legendary landmarks in Castroville. From breakfast to delicious hometown lunch specials and more, Sammy's satisfies your taste buds with the unique flavor of Castroville. And from fresh baked breads to pies and pastries, South Texans have made Hades Alsatian Bakery a must-visit since 1940. Sammy's Restaurant, online at Sammy'sRestaurant.com. Hades Alsatian Bakery, online at HadesBakery.com. Peerless Equipment, your South Texas irrigation experts. Peerless Equipment specializes in sales and service of irrigation equipment to the agricultural and wildlife industries. This includes hose reels, big guns, pivot systems, underground pipelines, turbine well pumps, booster pumps, motors, valves, and an inventory of much more. Stop by one of their locations in Hondo and Pearsall, or give them a call at 210-434-7867. Peerless Equipment, bringing water to you.
Are you ready for a vacation? Tanya with Travel by Design can help you with all your vacation destination needs. At no cost to you, she can plan all of the details tailored to your unique wants and needs. So all you have to do is enjoy your vacation. Tanya is a certified expert with Disney, Universal Orlando, and California, Sandals, and all cruise lines. Give Tanya a call at 830-931-4834 or visit her Facebook page, Tanya with Travel by Design, for all the latest specials and must-do vacations.
Tondre Gwynn Funeral Home in Castroville, Texas has been providing funeral services to families in the Medina Valley and surrounding areas for many generations. Tondre Gwynn Funeral Home is proud to support the broadcast by the Medina Valley Broadcast Network for the athletes and students participating in this event. Go Panthers! Tondre Gwynn Funeral Home, Castroville, Texas. You may view obituaries at Tondre, Tondre-Gwynn, Guinn.com, or visit the Facebook page of Tondre Gwynn Funeral Home to view funeral notices.
Welcome back here to Sports for Supper, as we are joined by 4 of the young men and women from the golf team, with 2 guys on, 2 girls. And if we'll start, if you will introduce yourself, tell us your name, year in school.
Yes, I am Roman McNally. I am a junior from Medina Valley High School.
Okay, and how long have you been playing golf? When did you start playing?
I started playing tournaments since I was 7.
Since you were 7, okay.
7.
And you played all, did they have a middle school golf team at Medina Valley?
No, sir, they did not.
Just at the freshman, or when you turn a freshman, right?
Yes, sir.
And so you're a junior now. Were you tell us about your progression from being a freshman up till now, and kind of like your journey through high school golf?
Yeah, when I was a freshman, when I went into tournaments, it was a lot different. I was a lot more nervous than I was now. It's just different. I feel more comfortable. I feel like I belong. So I feel like my game has progressed really well, and I'm able to help the team out a lot more than I did my freshman year.
And I know golf is a huge mental game. You know, tell us about how you are able to manage a golf course and how you're able to stay within your mindset. You know, Coach talked about having to wait for 3 groups on par 3 sometimes. Tell us about having to keep your cool through some of that and how you keep your edge.
You set the process to just keep you occupied. If it's like cleaning your ball, cleaning your clubs, we're working on problems you fell in the last hole, and just find something to occupy your mind and not focusing on what's in front of you. Just make sure you're occupied and keep your mind going.
And so walk us through a typical day of practice for you.
Typical day, I usually arrive at the golf course at 3:45. Do whatever the coach wants us to do. We usually play since it's the start of the season, and we warm up for about 10 minutes. Then we tee off at around 4 o'clock.
And y'all play 9 holes in
Yes,
your
sir.
practices, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And so y'all play at Alsatian,
Yes, sir.
right? How nice is that to have a golf course right there? 'Cause do y'all still do last period athletics where y'all can go out there during athletic periods?
Yes, sir. As soon as 8th period ends, we are able to go straight to the golf course.
That's awesome.
The first time I met this young man was when he was 7 years old. I was umpiring a Pinto game, and he's in the batter circle with his bat, and he's swinging a golf club. And I said, "What are you doing? You're not golfing." He said, "I wish I was." And I think that was the last year you played. You went straight from golf after
Yeah.
that.
Yes, sir.
Did the baseball grip affect you when you were trying to golf?
It was actually the other way around. The golf swing and the golf grip actually affected my baseball.
You start dipping the
Yes.
swing down.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
So I don't know if every player does it, but you know, when I was playing, we all had that one thing that we tell ourselves before each shot, like to tell yourself something. Like I told myself, hit the back of the ball, be able to keep my shoulders. You know, is there something that you tell yourself like that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I usually tell myself to make sure I keep the face square to the ball on my backswing.
How important is it to you to have a sister that is as good as she is to mentor you? What is it? And you, I know you say you were out there Monday through Friday in school. You're out there Saturday and Sunday almost every day also.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And your dad helps you then, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Your dad helps you then,
my
right?
dad helps
Yep.
me a lot, and so does Gabby. She helps me a lot.
And you play some of those like STPGA tournaments and
Yes,
stuff
sir.
during the summer?
Yes, sir.
So you're and I'll ask all of y'all this, but you guys' summer's pretty much eaten up with golf too, right? Like
Yes,
you play
sir.
year round. Because and you can probably attest to this, when you put the club down for a week, what does that do to your game?
It changes everything. As soon as you go back, you feel like you never touched the club before. You have to make sure you keep on, because if you stop it for like a week, you'll lose it.
And so you got your first tournament coming up pretty soon. When did you say? October. Tell us a little about preparing for those first tournaments.
Preparing, it's just do what I normally do. Just make sure I got a good solid swing and a good solid mental approach to the tournament. I know in Austin there's going to be some really good schools there. I just got to make sure I don't get wrapped up in that and just focus on my game and my score. Then hopefully my score will take care of the leaderboard. So.
Awesome.
What is your personal best?
Personal best in practice, it's a 69. Personal best in a tournament is a 76.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for joining us. We appreciate having you on.
Thank you,
and
sir.
Good luck in the season coming up. And
Thank you.
hopefully we'll see you back here next year, too.
Thank you, sir.
And then we'll move on to the next young man here. If you'll tell us your name, year in school.
Yes, sir. My name is Levi Keith. I'm a junior this year.
And how long have you been playing?
Ever since I can remember. I've been playing since 4 or 5, but I started playing tournaments about 7.
And you qualified for state last year,
Yes,
right?
sir.
That was you. Okay. Tell us a little bit about how has your game progressed from your freshman year on to now? Like, what have you seen drastic improvement in it, or was it at that point little things that you had to work on?
Definitely little things, yeah. You just got to pay attention to your game and not get caught up on other players. You know, you just got to focus on what you do best and what your strengths are, and just sticking to what you practice with, and just, you know, keeping your mind straight. And golf is a very mental game, so that's probably the most important part, and just sticking to what you know.
How hard is it when, you know, because when you're playing in a tournament, you have someone else's scorecard. Usually the better schools get paired with better schools, but that's not always the case, especially on the first round.
Yeah.
How hard is it when you're only hitting the ball 4 times a round, you got someone over there hitting it 90? How difficult is that to
Yeah,
deal
that's
with?
just part of the game, you know. No matter if it's high school golf or you're just playing in, you know, like you said, the SCPGA, you know, that stuff's just going to happen. Slow play is just part of the game. So I feel like just keeping a good mindset and just focusing on your game and shot by shot, not get caught up on what other players are doing, is what you got to do.
Are there, during tournaments, are there coaches trying to help speed up the pace of play and keep things moving a little?
Yeah, that's part of it, but you know, everybody struggles from tournament to tournament. That's just golf,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult sport, but yeah, the coaches definitely do help out a lot. They're big key.
Tell us about your typical day in practice.
Practice? Well, I try to stay away from the range as much as I can. You know, I try to practice on the golf course, you know, playing and just critiquing, like, what I need to do, when I'm doing wrong, when I'm doing right. And my dad helps me out a lot. You know, he's been coaching me for pretty much my whole life. He's the one that got me into it. So, yeah, you know, he helps me out a lot. Coach Bombeck, you know, he when we're at practice, he gives me some good drills and stuff to think about, and, you know, what to work on.
Well, and that's the other aspect of the game, is that you do things outside of the golf course that, you know, people don't realize.
Yeah.
You know, little drills at home, things like, you know, we used to hold a bag and turn like that, you know,
Yeah,
things
of
like that. What are some of the things that you do outside the golf course to help you
I have
prepare?
a putting mat at the house. It's in my room, so it's just, you know, short putts, which is very, very key. You know, I practice on that as much as I can. And I believe putting is probably the most important part of the game. That's where you finish the hole. So I do that a lot. I have a golf course right next to my house that I go to, and I can practice there. You know, I can do what I think I need to work on, and it just, you know.
Which course is that?
Golf Club of Texas.
Okay. And so tell us a little bit about the state tournament last year. Like, what's going through your head on that first tee box?
I definitely think I wasn't prepared for that. I was practicing well. The season went well, but I feel like that just state level just kind of like didn't really phase my mind as much as it should have. And this year I'll definitely be preparing harder and getting myself prepped for that.
When you all go to tournaments, do you do more shotgun starts or tee times? Because I know state and stuff is tee times. So,
yeah.
But if you're not used to having that, it's a little more nerve-wracking, especially at the state level. You got college scouts and things like that standing around there, and you got the shakes and things like that.
Course.
Yeah, just that's a nerve-wracking thing. So mentally preparing for you can't do it unless you've done it. So that I think that is a big key. You qualified as a sophomore.
Yes, sir.
So you got 2 more years. Hopefully you'll be back there, both of them.
Hopefully I'm working towards it.
What is the biggest thing that you've had to improve on your game?
Definitely mental. Mental has just been, what I've probably progressed the most in, but that's just what's helped my game out the most, is just keeping a good and steady mindset throughout tournaments and just focused on you and just your swing and, just that part of the game.
What's your favorite course you've gotten to play on?
Favorite course? I've had the privilege to be on Valhalla in Kentucky. That's where
Oh,
I moved.
wow.
Yeah,
That's
I
awesome.
moved from Kentucky to Texas when I was 10, 5 years ago, and it was drive, chip, and putt. It was one of those, and I got to see the course, and I was there
That's
for
awesome.
the 2014 PGA Championship, and I got to see like all the greats walk through there and watch McIlroy hit the last putt.
That's awesome.
That was really cool.
That's cool.
Yes, sir.
What is the strangest thing you've ever seen, or what is a golfer did that you've actually had to penalize them for?
I had a pretty odd situation this year. Actually, it was at Oak Hills, and it was I don't exactly remember the tournament, but there's an argument between us, and it just. I don't really know. It got out of hand, and there's rules officials coming in. It was pretty hectic, but we got it straightened out. But yeah, that was definitely a new one for me.
There was no rakes thrown, was I've actually seen a rake get thrown at someone like a javelin.
There was some pushing and shoving, which has never really happened on a golf course. That was new for me.
Oh
So,
man!
yeah.
But the strangest thing that I saw when I was playing, we were playing in Divine, and it was before the tournament started. We're all handing out the scorecards. Here, you keep mine. And this young man teed up a golf ball, and across the fence there was just brush. So he's on the tee box. He tees it off, and he hits practice ball, which he thought was a practice ball, out of bounds. Teed up another one, out of bounds, and the young man from Divine says, "You're laying 5. You're hitting 5 because you were on the tee box and addressing the ball."
Yeah.
And he started off with and I thought there was going to be a killing.
Yeah.
Because I would have said, "Hey," but you have to understand, if you know the young man I was playing with from Divine, you'd understood.
And that's the weird thing about golf, is there's so many things that happen on a golf course, even during a round, that sometimes you don't even realize it at the time, and you go back and look back on what happened. You're like, wow, that really happened out there. You know what I mean?
Yes,
That's one of the cool things about golf. We have all these stories, and y'all are going to
absolutely.
have them too.
What is your personal best?
A 61 in practice, and I believe a 64 in tournament.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Well, good luck in
Thanks,
the
sir.
season coming up, and hopefully we'll see you back here next year.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
We'll move on to the ladies, and if you'll tell us your name and year in school.
My name is Katie French, and I am a sophomore.
And how long have you been playing?
I've been playing for a little over a year.
Okay, and so you started as a freshman then?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
That was the first time you picked up golf?
Yes.
I was the same way. How your first tournament, a lot of nerves, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us about your first tournament then as what you go into now. Like, how has it changed mentally going into this?
It was definitely scary because I didn't know what to expect. I've never been to one before. now I've definitely gotten used to it. I know what to expect. I know how to prepare, like mentally and physically.
What got you into
That's
playing?
what I was gonna ask.
To be honest, I just needed a PE credit, and I didn't want to go into PE, so I was just like, why not try out golf? And then it just stuck.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So tell us about your typical day at practice.
Usually, I just tell whatever coach does. I change, and then I go out, and I just wait for all the other girls to get there, and then usually we just play. And the girls go a little bit slower, so we don't go through 9 holes, but oh well. It's fine.
What? Go ahead. You got something? Oh. Well, everyone was talking to everybody. Is that something I need to know?
No.
So, when you first started out as to now, like, how big has the because when you first start, you see progress quickly.
Yeah.
And then it kind of dies off, and it's little things. Like, how hard has it been to work at those little things and start chipping away at your score?
Very. When I started, I could not even hit the ball. I didn't know like any of the rules, and just like through experience and going through tournaments and just coaches, I've learned everything. Yeah.
Do y'all get a written test for rules?
No. We did last year, I think.
Yeah.
I think our coach last year did.
And you keep a rule book like with y'all or no?
I've never seen a rule book in my life, to be honest.
Coach Mann was a you keep this in your bag kind of thing. Yeah, but we got rules tests all the time because that was because it's so easy to not something happens and it's, what do we do here? And sometimes there's nobody around and you're trying to keep the pace of play. It's like, what do we do here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So. Do you work a lot on the range, or would you rather be on the course practicing?
Last year, our coach put us a lot on the range, and that's what I just got used to. I didn't play. I played one time before my first tournament on the course at Alsatian, but now I've been getting used to the course, and I like playing more.
So nothing, you didn't see anything on TV or anything to say, you know what, I think I want to play that. You just were looking for a... Well, do you think you made the right choice? Do you like it?
Yes.
It's addicting game.
Yeah, it is.
Once you start taking it serious, it's addicting.
It is. I've definitely gotten used to it. I love it. It's my sport. I've tried most sports, and this is one I've finally gotten good at.
So is there one thing that you can look at your game and say, I really need to improve on this more than that? Or are you just basically saying, I'm still kind of a rookie at this. I need to work on everything.
A little bit of both, but it's mostly putting. That's the most important part of the game, and I need to get better at it.
What are one of the drills that y'all go through with putting? What is one of the... do you start off putting close and move further away, or do you start off further away and move closer?
Yes, for example, today at practice we did... how many you made out of 25 from 3 feet away, and then we did like a circle where it's like 4 feet away and then 6 foot, and then we go further distances.
How many did you make from 3 feet out of the 25?
I kind of lost count. It was
that many, or
no.
You missed that many?
No.
I don't know.
So, and this is something I probably should have asked these guys too, but I didn't think about it at the time. Talking about putting, you guys go from, and I don't know how many bent greens you guys get to play. I know a lot of it's Bermuda and stuff like that, but like when you play on bent as opposed to Bermuda, how much of a do you have to learn to read those? Does it just come with practice on those types of greens, or do y'all do anything like, hey, that went the wrong way? Do y'all do anything like to think about, hey, the grain's going this way and that?
Yeah, the coaches definitely correct us on that, and they just tell us to read the greens and see which way it bends and everything like that.
Yeah, because I know that can get frustrating.
Oh, absolutely.
On some courses, especially. What's your favorite course you've gotten to play on?
I haven't played on many, but probably my favorite, because I did the best on that course, was Uvalde.
Uvalde.
It's not that good of a course, but it was just my favorite.
But that's a 27-hole course now, right? If I'm not right, they had it at one time.
Not
they
anymore.
changed it. No, they changed it. We used to go out there and play. So, what is your goal for this year?
Just to get better and get my score down.
And so you don't want to tell us your best score, that's fine, but what is your best score?
115.
115.
Yeah.
And is your big goal like, hey, I got to get under 100? Like, do you set goals like that? Like,
Yes,
I got to break
I do.
100, then work
Yeah.
on 90 and so on.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get it down to 110 right now. Just small baby steps.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And good luck this year coming up.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll see you in the future also.
Yes.
And we'll move on to the last young lady here. And if you'll tell us your name and year in school, please.
My name is Marianne Stevens, and I'm a freshman this year.
You're a freshman this year. And have you been playing before?
Not for very long. I started taking lessons a little under 2 years ago, and then this year it was a bit of an interesting start, but I eventually got into the golf class.
So being a freshman on the team now, what are kind of your expectations for the year? What are you working towards this year?
I have never actually been to a tournament before, so I'm very eager to see how that's going to look. But I'm hoping that I learn a lot more than I knew before I was in the class and learn about tournaments and more practices.
And you enjoy the practices and things like that.
Mhm.
And so, like, golf's something you want to stick with.
Yes, sir.
What introduced you to the game? What was the thing that made you think, I want to learn this game?
A few years ago, my dad and I were looking for more stuff that I could try and get into, and we came across Joe McNeil's practices out by the Golf Club of Texas, and I took lessons with him for around 2 years, and it was very helpful. I learned a lot from him, but that was kind of what introduced me to it.
Is your dad a golfer also?
He mostly just plays for fun with his friends a bunch, but he thought it would be something that I would be interested in.
And so your typical day at practice, what does it look like for you?
Well, like they said, we get here around 3:45, and then on days that we go out and play on the course, we usually have a few minutes for ourselves to either putt or chip or hit off the range, whatever we need to personally work on. And then we all tee off. There are usually 2 groups that go first, and then the girls go because we play a bit slower. And we usually get in anywhere from 4 to 7 holes.
Okay. And then how much time do you put in outside the golf course?
I do play more sports than golf, just not
Okay.
for the school, so I don't get to have a lot of time, but usually like anywhere from 1 to 2 hours on the weekend.
What else do you play?
As of right now, I play soccer and I referee.
Okay, cool.
So you've never played in a tournament before? This year will be your first opportunity
sir.
to play in a tournament?
Yes, sir.
And how are you feeling about that? Is it like anxious, excited?
I'm very excited to see how it's gonna look. I have a bit of an idea in my mind, but I guess never really know till you go see it for yourself.
Yeah.
So what would you think is the toughest hole out there at the outstation that you've played?
Probably.
It's probably the hole you hate the most.
Yeah.
She says number 2.
Yes, definitely hole 2. We always lose our balls in the water on that one.
On the first shot or second shot?
Usually the second.
Because these guys probably have to lay up and can't even hit a driver probably, or they're in the water. Correct?
Yeah.
What is your favorite club in the bag?
I'm not sure. That's a tough one.
So which club do you think is the easiest for you to hit?
Probably my 5 would. Probably.
Is that what you tee off with, or you tee off with a driver?
I usually tee off with a driver. If it's a shorter distance, then I usually go for my 5 wood.
Awesome. Anything else?
Nope.
Guys,
Okay.
thank y'all all for joining us. We appreciate it, and hopefully we'll see all of you back here next year.
Absolutely.
Are there any seniors on the team? No, not at all. Wow. So the whole team will be back next year. Awesome. Well, we're going to take a break and come back. You're listening to Sports for Supper, and we'll continue in a moment.
Are you ready for a vacation? Tanya with Travel by Design can help you with all your vacation destination needs. At no cost to you, she can plan all of the details tailored to your unique wants and needs. So all you have to do is enjoy your vacation. Tanya is a certified expert with Disney, Universal Orlando, and California, Sandals, and all cruise lines. Give Tanya a call at 830-931-4834 or visit her Facebook page, Tanya with Travel by Design. For all the Bush's Chicken, one of the oldest locations in Castroville, is proud to serve the Medina Valley area. Bush's Chicken has one goal: be the best. Bush's Chicken knows its success comes from loyal customers in the communities they serve. Stop by Bush's Chicken on Tuesday and get the Tender Tuesday deal, or try their buffalo fries and ask about their Panther special. It's all
Double T Outfitters offers deer, dove, turkey, quail, and exotic hunts in Southwest Texas on over 20,000 low-fenced acres. They facilitate professional guide services, lodging, and fantastic meals while providing the best in Southwest hunting. Contact Double T Outfitters to find out details about their current package hunts. Contact owner Brett Ferguson at 210-413-1597 or online at DoubleTHunting.com. Sammy's Restaurant and Hades Alsatian Bakery, two legendary landmarks in Castroville. From breakfast to delicious hometown lunch specials and more, Sammy's satisfies your taste buds with the unique flavor of Castroville. And from fresh baked breads to pies and pastries, South Texans have made Hades Alsatian Bakery a must to visit since 1940. Sammy's Restaurant, online at Sammy'sRestaurant.com. Hades Alsatian Bakery, online at HadesBakery.com.
Texas, 268,000 square miles and then some. Twice as much elbow room as California. There's just no place like Texas. You can take that to the bank. Texan Bank, poised and ready for a future that's wide open. Member FDIC.
Peerless Equipment, your South Texas irrigation experts. Peerless Equipment specializes in sales and service of irrigation equipment to the agricultural and wildlife industries. This includes hose reels, big guns, pivot systems, underground pipelines, turbine well pumps, booster pumps, motors, valves, and an inventory of much more. Stop by one of their locations in Hondo and Pearsall or give them a call at 210-434-7867. Peerless Equipment, bringing water to you.
Are you ready for a vacation? Tanya with Travel by Design can help you with all your vacation destination needs. At no cost to you, she can plan all of the details tailored to your unique wants and needs. So all you have to do is enjoy your vacation. Tanya is a certified expert with Disney, Universal Orlando, and California, Sandals, and all cruise lines. Give Tanya a call at 830-931-4834 or visit her Facebook page, Tanya with Travel by Design, for all the latest specials and must-do vacations.
Welcome back here to Sports for Supper. We had football on here earlier. We had the golf program on here tonight, and there's some great young men and women on that team. Good interviews with them. And they're going to be starting their season here in October, their first golf tournament. They can play 8 of them up to regional or up to district, which is usually in April, in the springtime. But you had one young man that qualified for state last year, and he's hoping to do it again. He's only a junior, so I mean they've got their program's looking strong,
yes.
You know, and they're trying to get more people in there. So if you want to play golf, go out for it because it's something you can do the rest of your life.
Lifetime sport, golf, tennis. Hopefully we get the tennis team on here, you know, one of these days here in the next few weeks.
And also want to remind everyone that this week Medina Valley football will be taking on Southside. That's a home game. Southside 2-0 in district play right now, so they're one of the teams that's a game ahead of Medina Valley. So this is really, I know it's only the third district game, but it's a big game for the Panthers.
It's a big game because they get both of the top runners early on.
Yeah.
Legacy is still undefeated, and Southside's undefeated. And I really think that those are two of the top teams. Now, you already lost to Legacy. A good showing would be nice against Southside, but it sure would be nice to get a win against Southside.
You'd be right back in the
You'd
district.
be right back in it because Southside and Legacy still have to play. And like Coach, I know he said this last week, they're still in control of their destiny if they can take care of business on Friday nights.
Right.
Now, they got some challenges. Having a freshman at quarterback is going to be a challenge. He's going to make freshman mistakes.
Yeah.
You got to live with it, And one of the positives that I took out of watching the video the other day of the game wasn't a whole lot of penalties and false starts and things like that we've had over the last several years. It looks like maybe they're getting a little bit more disciplined about the penalties and stuff. Now, can't say a whole lot because it was Laredo Martin, and they are struggling. They had how many guys on the sideline?
Probably like 20.
I don't think they had that many. Yeah. I think they had that many total on the team, maybe.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. Well, on the sideline, they had about 8 kids on the sideline.
They only had 26
the
night before on the JV team.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they're a program that's struggling, obviously. But taking out of it, you can't deny the kid. You got to play the schedule.
Yeah.
And they played well, and they looked like they were improving on some things. Now, carry it over. Guerrero is going to be key running the ball, along with the Pierce.
Yep.
You got a little bit of a load with a hard running Guerrero, and then you got a little speed with Pierce. So it's a good 1-2 deal. Hopefully, we could see them both in the backfield together in a double barrel set or something eventually. Which I'm not an offensive coordinator, but maybe that's what they're thinking. But at the same time, the quarterback looked good throwing the ball. They kept it simple. They ran some little hitch routes for him, and I did notice that when he tried to throw the ball down the field, he was not as accurate. Those are some of the freshman things you're going to have to live with. As far as the offensive and defensive fronts, it's good to hear that y'all gave him the player of the game because in my article in the Castroville Anvil, you can pick one up in Castroville anywhere. The Castroville Anvil this week, I wrote about the defensive line dominating that game. They lived in the backfield.
Oh, yeah.
You said you mentioned to Coach that they kept them off the linebackers.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, they kept them off the linebackers, but they were making the plays. And when they did get past the front line, the linebackers were clear to make the plays.
Well, see, that stems with a little bit of and I'm saying Laredo Martin, were making the pre-snap penalties. They were putting themselves back behind.
First and 15, first and 20. They were behind the chains all the time.
Defense could just unload.
But they couldn't throw the ball either. I mean, they really struggled. So take what you want out of the Martin game. You got to move forward. Take on Southside now. I know a couple of the coaches over at Southside. Matter of fact, we play golf with one of them.
Yeah.
We talk to him every so often. But a guy I played football with in college coaches over there too, and I saw him this summer. And I asked him, I said, "Hey, y'all gonna have another one of those 4-4 kids? Because y'all seem to always come up with one or two of these kids that can just fly." Oh no, we don't have any of those kids this year. We're rebuilding, just like what Coach said earlier.
Yeah.
I said, "Give me a break." Y'all going to have somebody. And sure enough, it looks like they're just reloaded. They got a really good running back, and it's going to be a good challenge for our kids early on. Coming off a win, how do you respond?
And they're all confident.
Well,
they're
and
all
if you take
flying
anything
high.
from the two young men we had here, Hewitt and Burns, those are two of your playmakers on the defensive side of the ball and the return team.
Well,
and it's all positive.
Well,
After that win,
remember what you're playing with too. Not only do you have a freshman quarterback, a whole bunch of them are sophomores.
You got a very young team.
A whole bunch of them are juniors. There's a few seniors sprinkled in, but these two kids, I think they were both juniors.
Yeah.
So you're now 4 games into the season. That's 4 more games of experience these kids have gotten. And Coach had mentioned it a couple times. They're going to get better with every game because the game's going to start slowing down for them.
Yep.
So you got to look for somebody now to start making plays.
Yep.
So somebody just got to make plays.
Are we going to be broadcasting volleyball Friday?
No, we're not. Okay. Unfortunately, Matt's got to go out of town. Dwayne's going to be at the football game watching his daughter. So we're not going to have a Legacy broadcast. Legacy is 0-4 or something like that. So it's one of them that we picked that we weren't going to do. And hopefully we will get the equipment settled. Oh my gosh, that equipment's driving me nuts. But we will get the equipment settled, and we will get a decent broadcast on hopefully next Tuesday, which I'm not sure where they'll be Maybe at Southside. If it's at Southside, we can't broadcast.
No,
from there. So
there's no reception.
There's no reception there. So we'll get them on, and we'll get make sure that we can do what we can with volleyball.
And make sure you tune in Friday night. Southside coming to Medina Valley to Panther Stadium. That is a 7:00 start. They'll be on the air around 6:40, 6:45.
The B team will be on that night. Jared won't be around, so I'm going to have to fill in.
I won't be here, but I won't be here for the show next Wednesday either.
Nope, B team there too.
But I'll be back for the Eagle Pass game. And,
we'll try to keep everything afloat, Jared, while you're gone.
I'm sure y'all can do just fine. But make sure you tune in for those. I'd like to thank the sponsors for making it possible to bring you these broadcasts. Without them, these would not be possible. We really appreciate them, and most of them have all been sticking with us for years now. And but there's always room for more.
Hey, you got any specials for us from Sammy's, Maury?
Everything's delicious. And I want to thank Sammy's for allowing us to have Sports for Supper once again this year. We appreciate Ann and the family and everything that they do. If people don't realize it, they donate nachos and drinks and stuff for the kids and the coaches who come here. So they wouldn't have to do that. They do it because they appreciate and they're back in the community and they back Medina Valley.
Yep, absolutely. And make sure you tune in on Friday night for the football broadcast, and next Tuesday hopefully for volleyball, and then Wednesday night for Sports for Supper. So for Medina Valley Broadcast Network, I'm and Maury Stein and Jeff Stivers, I'm Jared Lucky saying good night. God bless, and we'll see you on Friday night when